She thought she understood loneliness, until she met a man surrounded by everything money could buy, except trust. New York City glittered beneath the night sky like a promise no one could quite keep. From above, the streets looked perfect. Ordered. Alive. Important. But down at street level, people rushed past each other without ever truly seeing anyone. Especially men like Adrian Wolfe. To the world, Adrian Wolfe was untouchable, a billionaire tech investor, owner of Wolfe International, the man financial news channels called the architect of modern power. His face appeared on magazine covers beside words like genius, visionary, and self-made legend. But none of those headlines mentioned the truth. Adrian Wolfe trusted no one. Not after what happened 3 years ago. The betrayal had been quiet. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just a signature on a contract, placed there by the woman he planned to marry. She hadn't just stolen money. She had stolen control of his company during its most vulnerable moment, selling confidential data to competitors while smiling beside him at charity galas. By the time Adrian discovered it, the damage was irreversible. Billions lost, partnerships destroyed, and something far worse broken inside him. Since then, Adrian learned a rule that never failed. People loved power, never the person holding it. So he disappeared, not publicly. The world still saw the billionaire. But privately, he vanished into disguises no one questioned. Tonight, he was just a driver. The black sedan rolled silently through midtown traffic. Adrian adjusted the rearview mirror, studying the passenger listed on his schedule. Emma Carter. Temporary guest at the Kensington Hotel. Occupation, freelance editor. Financial status, unstable. No criminal record. No social climbing history. No connections to wealth. Normal, ordinary, safe. At least, that's what his security team believed. But Adrian didn't rely on reports anymore. He relied on observation, because truth revealed itself when people believed you were invisible. Outside the hotel entrance, rain fell in soft silver lines. And then he saw her, standing alone under the awning, hair slightly damp, holding a folder like it contained the last fragile pieces of her future. She wasn't scrolling on her phone like everyone else. She wasn't pretending confidence. She looked tired, not physically, emotionally, the kind of tired Adrian recognized instantly, the kind money couldn't fix. He stepped out of the car. "Miss Carter?" She turned, surprised. Her eyes held disappointment that hadn't faded yet, as if something important had just slipped through her hands. "Yes, I'm your ride." She hesitated before getting in, offering a polite smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. And for reasons Adrian couldn't explain, he noticed that smile more than stock market crashes or billion-dollar negotiations. Inside the car, silence settled naturally. Most passengers filled silence with status. Questions about luxury. Attempts to assert importance. Emma didn't. She watched the rain instead. After several minutes, she whispered, almost to herself, "I think today officially wins worst day of my life." Adrian kept his tone neutral. "That serious?" She laughed softly. "I just realized dreams expire. Nobody tells you that when you're young." The honesty caught him off guard. People usually performed happiness. She didn't. "What was the dream?" he asked. "Publishing," she said. "Stories that make people feel less alone." A small pause. Turns out the world doesn't need another dreamer. Adrian looked at her through the mirror. The city lights reflected across her face, and something unfamiliar stirred in him. Recognition, not attraction, not yet. Something deeper, understanding. "The world always needs storytellers," he said quietly. She smiled faintly. "You're kind for a driver." Driver. The word landed exactly as intended. Invisible. Safe, untouchable. Adrian Wolfe had spent months living different identities. Waiter, consultant, chauffeur, studying how people treated those they believed powerless. Most ignored him. Some were cruel. Others revealed ambition so naked it almost amused him. But Emma Carter did something unexpected. She asked his name, not out of politeness, out of genuine curiosity. "Daniel," he said, using the alias. "Well, Daniel," she sighed, leaning back. "Thanks for listening." Most strangers pretend not to hear. He nodded slightly. Sometimes strangers listen better. Over the next 20 minutes, she spoke about failure without self-pity, about student loans, about watching friends succeed while she restarted again and again. She never exaggerated, never complained unfairly, just told the truth. And Adrian realized something unsettling. He wanted the drive to last longer. That had never happened before. Not once. When they arrived at her apartment building, she hesitated before getting out. "Can I ask you something?" "Yes." "Do you ever feel like life is testing you, but forgot to explain the lesson?" Adrian almost smiled. All the time. She nodded as if that answer mattered deeply. Then she stepped out into the rain. No flirting. No attempt to impress. No interest in who he might be beyond the moment they shared. Just gratitude. "Good night, Daniel." The door closed softly. And Adrian Wolfe, billionaire, strategist, man who controlled markets across continents, remained parked at the curb long after she disappeared inside. Because for the first time in years, someone had spoken to him without wanting anything in return. He didn't know it yet. But that ordinary woman walking into a small apartment carried a secret powerful enough to destroy him. And she had no idea. The quiet driver she trusted was one of the richest men in America. Or that their next meeting would place both of them in danger neither could escape. The rain continued falling, and somewhere above the clouds, a private jet waited for orders. Money can buy silence, and Adrian Wolfe owned more silence than anyone alive. High above Manhattan, on the 82nd floor of a glass tower bearing his name, the city stretched endlessly beneath him. Lights flickered like constellations trapped on Earth. Traffic moved in glowing rivers. Helicopters crossed the skyline like slow-moving stars. From this height, New York looked peaceful, controlled, predictable. But inside the penthouse, there was only stillness. No laughter, no music, no life, just space. Too much space. The penthouse was worth $70 million. Italian marble floors reflected soft ambient lighting. A grand piano sat untouched near floor-to-ceiling windows. Artwork worth more than most homes lined the walls. Pieces collected not for beauty, but investment. Everything perfect. Everything cold. Adrian loosened his tie as he walked inside, tossing his keys onto a polished stone counter. The echo followed him through empty rooms. His assistant had already left dinner prepared, perfectly plated, untouched. He ignored it. Instead, he walked toward the windows. Below him, millions of lives unfolded at once, people arguing, laughing, falling in love, breaking apart, living. And Adrian watched like an outsider, observing another world, because wealth had built invisible walls around him. Every conversation came with motives. Every smile carried calculation. Every relationship eventually revealed a price tag. After the betrayal, he stopped trying to separate love from ambition. He simply assumed they were the same. His phone buzzed. A message from the board of directors. Another acquisition approved. Another company absorbed. Another victory. Adrian stared at the screen without emotion. Success no longer felt like winning. It felt like maintenance. He set the phone down and poured himself a glass of water, not whiskey. He stopped drinking after the scandal. Clarity became his only defense. Across the room, multiple screens activated automatically, displaying financial markets opening overseas. Numbers climbed. millions gained in seconds, and still, nothing changed inside him. Because the truth Adrian never admitted out loud was simple. He wasn't afraid of losing money anymore. He was afraid of trusting someone again. That was why he created the experiment. The disguises, the anonymous roles, driver, waiter, consultant. He wanted to see people without wealth distorting reality. He wanted proof that genuine connection still existed. Months passed. The results disappointed him every time. Until Emma Carter. Across the city, Emma's apartment told a completely different story. 4th floor, no elevator, peeling paint near the windows, a radiator that hissed like it was constantly complaining about existence. Stacks of manuscripts covered her small table, coffee cups everywhere, sticky notes filled with ideas, edits, and unfinished dreams. The place was chaotic, alive, human. Emma sat cross-legged on the floor, rereading an email rejection glowing on her laptop screen. She closed it quickly, not angry, just tired. Outside, sirens echoed faintly through the streets. She leaned back against the couch and stared at the ceiling. Most people would have seen failure. But Emma wasn't running from something. She was hiding inside something. And no one in New York knew the truth about her. Not her neighbors, not her clients, not even the hotel that hired her temporarily. Because Emma Carter wasn't entirely who she claimed to be. In a drawer beside her bed lay a sealed envelope. Inside it, a different name, a legal document, and a photograph of her standing beside a man whose face appeared regularly on financial news channels. She never opened the drawer unless necessary. Tonight, she didn't. Instead, she opened a blank document and began typing. Stories were safer than memories. Stories didn't betray you. The next evening, 2 completely different worlds prepared for the same event. The annual Wolfe Foundation Charity Gala, one of the most exclusive nights in New York. Politicians, celebrities, billionaires, media everywhere. Adrian adjusted his tuxedo in front of a mirror while security briefed him through an earpiece. Attendance confirmed. Investors from London arriving. Press coverage increased after last quarter's earnings. He barely listened. Public appearances were performances now. Carefully rehearsed versions of himself. Confident. Untouchable. Unreachable. The version the world trusted. Meanwhile, Emma stood nervously in a borrowed evening dress. Inside the hotel staff room, she had accepted a last-minute editing job for the event's promotional materials, which somehow included temporary access to the gala itself. She almost declined. High society made her uncomfortable. Too many masks, too many secrets, yet something pulled her there anyway. Maybe curiosity, maybe destiny, or maybe the quiet memory of a driver who listened without judgment. She looked at herself in the mirror. For a brief moment, uncertainty crossed her face, as if attending this event meant stepping closer to a past she worked hard to escape. She whispered softly to her reflection, "Just one night." The ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and orchestral music. Champagne flowed endlessly. Laughter echoed across polished floors. Powerful people shaking hands while calculating advantage behind their smiles. Adrian entered to applause. Cameras flashed instantly. The billionaire had arrived. His expression remained composed, practiced, distant. But then something unexpected happened across the room. He saw her. Emma, standing near a display table, looking completely out of place among diamonds and designer gowns. She froze when she noticed him. Recognition flickered across her face. Confusion first, then realization struggling to form, because the quiet driver, named Daniel, stood at the center of the room, surrounded by wealth, commanding attention, impossible to ignore. And in that moment, two truths collided silently.